Do you know how to make leaves in Tunisian crochet lace? This is a very common pattern in knitting that you will probably find in a lot of projects, but we can also do this in Tunisian crochet. And in this tutorial I will show you how to make one such pattern repeat, plus the stitches that you need to do on the edges so that you can follow along with any such lace pattern to make a baby blanket, or in this case the triangle bandana. And if you knit, you will notice that there's a lot of similarities between these two fabrics. In this tutorial I will be using this chart, and you can see that there are only yarn overs, simple stitches, decreases, and that's all. If you want to, you can also add some stitches where you yarn over and skip a stitch. And in the bandana I am doing exactly that. And in the baby blanket we're just using this plain pattern. In this tutorial I will show you how to use the pattern with the yarn over and skip a stitch. So I just added some circles here to represent the yarn over and skip one in the chart. Depending on which pattern you're using, you might have this stitch or not. For this tutorial I'll be using this chunky wool yarn with a 7mm hook. The stitch pattern consists of a repeat of 10 stitches, plus you have 1 stitch at the beginning and 10 stitches at the end. And you need 2 more stitches or loops on the hook to finish the row. In my patterns I usually like to represent the return pass, and I don't represent the first stitch, but if you count the number of stitches in the entire pattern, you will have the same number of loops on the hook at the end of the forward pass. So keep that in mind when you work with my patterns. So if we need a multiple of 10, I will just do 10 plus 13. Then we need to start with 23 for this swatch, and that means that I chain 22. Then pick up the 22 loops in the back bumps and finish the first row, which is not part of the pattern repeat, it's just the setup row. This pattern is not for beginners, so you should be familiar with the basics in Tunisian crochet before you start this. You should know how to make a foundation row, how to do the simple stitch, how to make eyelets and to work into them, and how to make decreases, and how to make a return pass. I will show how to do all of these in this tutorial, so if it's the first time for you in making a lace, this is a pretty good one to start with. You just need to pay attention to the chart. I also linked the tutorials for these basic stitches and techniques in the description, so check those out if you don't know how to make them before you start using this tutorial. The foundation row is finished, and we need to look at the chart. First we have a simple decrease, that's Tunisian crochet 2 together, and then we start the pattern. We insert the hook underneath the vertical bars of the first 2 stitches and drop a loop. Then we have 3 simple stitches, 1 yarn over. Then we have 1 simple stitch in the yarn over, and we don't skip anything here. 1 simple stitch, yarn over. Then we have 3 simple stitches, and the last stitch in the pattern repeat is a double decrease, which is called a Tunisian simple stitch 3 together. To do that, we insert the hook under the next 3 vertical bars and draw up a loop. Make sure you tighten this loop so that it's not super wide at the back here. It has to be the same length as the other loops on the back. Then we have the end section for this row, and it looks almost the same, except the last stitch here is different, so that we have the same amount of stitches on each row. So we have 3 simple stitches, one yarn over, 1 simple stitch, yarn over, 3 simple stitches. And then the last stitch in the repeat is a Tunisian crochet 2 together. So we just decrease 1. And then we have the last stitch. And now if you count the loops, there should be 23 on the hook. And then we start the return pass by chaining 1 and then yarn over, pull through 2. For the next row, we also begin with a decrease of 1. Then we have 2 simple stitches, 1 yarn over, and now we have to make 3 simple stitches. Normally in my lace patterns, I call this next stitch a simple stitch, where you insert the hook into the eyelet and pick up a loop. You could also do it by going underneath this diagonal bar on the front of the eyelet and picking up a loop. It's your choice. I like to just go inside the eyelet and pick up a loop. The point is to stay consistent. So that's 1 simple stitch, 2, and then 3, also in the eyelet. In all of my patterns where you have lace, I mention that to make a simple stitch in an eyelet, you just insert the hook through the eyelet and pick up a loop. Next we have 1 yarn over, 2 simple stitches, and now we have a double decrease or Tunisian simple stitch 3 together. We go under the 3 vertical bars of the next stitches, pick up a loop and tighten it at the back. Then we have the last repeat, which is not part of the pattern repeat, but it's the end of the row. So we have 2 simple stitches, yarn over, 3 simple stitches, yarn over, 2 simple stitches, and Tunisian crochet 2 together to finish off the row. And then we have the last stitch and the return pass. You will notice that the fabric tends to warp a bit where you do the decreases, and that's perfectly normal because you are changing the shape of the fabric as you decrease and increase. And this will get sorted out at the end. When you block your piece, you can add an edge to this and it will straighten it out, but it is inherently a pattern that likes to curl. Once we get past half of the pattern, it will even out at the top. So row 3 of the pattern repeat, we begin with a decrease again, and then the pattern repeat itself, 1 simple stitch, yarn over, 5 simple stitches, yarn over, 1 simple stitch, and then the double decrease. This is the end of the pattern repeat, and then we do the last stitches, 1 simple stitch, yarn over, 5 simple stitches, yarn over, 1 simple stitch, and then a simple decrease, Tunisian simple stitch, 2 together. Then we do the last stitch and then the return pass. In my lace patterns, you will notice that I always do a regular return pass so that you have a little break. When you have to concentrate on the forward pass, then you can take a break during the return pass and just yarn over, pull through 2. So there is no thinking involved. Next row, row 4, starts with a decrease before the pattern repeat. Then the pattern repeat starts with a yarn over. Then we have 7 simple stitches. Then we have a yarn over and we finish with Tunisian simple stitch, 3 together. And then the end of the row we yarn over, 7 simple stitches, yarn over and 2 together. Then last stitch, chain 1 and yarn over, pull through 2 to return. Next for row 5, if you are following the chart for the bandana, you will have a yarn over, skip 1 here at the beginning of the row, and then 9 Tunisian simple stitches. And the last stitch is a yarn over, skip 1. Then Tunisian simple stitches until there is 1 stitch left to make. Where you yarn over and skip 1. And then you make the last stitch. And then chain 1, yarn over, pull through 2. Now if you were to make this version from the baby blanket pattern, then you just Tunisian simple stitch across the row for this row. This is a choice that you can make to add the extra eyelets or not. And this is half of the pattern repeat. Now we will continue with row 6, which starts with a Tunisian simple stitch. Then you have yarn over and 3 simple stitches. Then we have a double decrease, so Tunisian simple stitch, 3 together. Then 3 simple stitches, 1 yarn over and 1 simple stitch. Then the last repeat is a yarn over, 3 simple stitches. Actually this is the same. So this part is repeated across the row. So we have 3 simple stitches, 3 together, 3 simple stitches, yarn over, and 1 simple stitch at the end before the last stitch. And then chain 1 and do the return pass. The reason why the pattern repeat goes across the row here is that the double decreases are in the middle of the pattern repeat, so there is no weird stuff happening on the edge to balance out the increases. Next row, row 7, we start with a simple stitch, and then the pattern repeat. Simple stitch, yarn over, 2 simple stitches, and then 3 together, 2 simple stitches, yarn over, and 2 simple stitches. We repeat this one more time. 1 simple stitch, yarn over, 2 simple stitches, 3 together, 2 simple stitches, yarn over, and 1 simple stitch, and then we have 1 more simple stitch at the end. Last stitch, chain 1, and then yarn over both or 2 to the beginning of the row. And next row starts again with a simple stitch. The pattern repeat starts with 2 simple stitches, yarn over, 1 simple stitch, 3 together, 1 simple stitch, yarn over, and 3 simple stitches. Again the repeat, 2 simple stitches, yarn over, 1 simple stitch, 3 together, 1 simple stitch, yarn over, 2 simple stitches, and we end the row with 1 simple stitch. And then last stitch, chain 1, yarn over both or 2, and row 9 starts again with a simple stitch. Then the pattern repeat has 3 simple stitches, yarn over, 3 together, yarn over, and 4 simple stitches. Again, 3 simple stitches, yarn over, 3 together, yarn over, 4 simple stitches, and then the last stitch. And for the last row, if you chose the version without the yarn over skip 1, then you can just Tunisian simple stitch across. If not, you start with 1 simple stitch and then 4 simple stitches in the repeat, yarn over skip 1, and 5 simple stitches. One more time, 4 simple stitches, yarn over skip 1, and then 5 simple stitches. Then last stitch, chain 1, yarn over both or 2. And that's the stitch pattern repeat. Now you can see we have 2 full leaves here, and if you make another half of the pattern repeat, you will get 1 more full leaf here, and so on. Once you block this, the eyelets will open up, and then you'll be able to see the stitch pattern better. If you want to make the bandana, you will not have the same shaping as here. You will actually use the eyelets here for creating the shape, the triangle shape of the bandana, which I find very cool. You will have a chart for this or the written instructions on my blog if you want to try this bandana. If you want to try the baby blanket, that's available in my shops if you want to buy the pattern, or you can just replicate this as many times as you need and add a non-curling border to the bottom, sides, and top of the project. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you liked it, you can visit the other tutorials on my channel where I show you various other Tunisian crochet and regular crochet patterns, and subscribe to my email updates if you want to find out when I publish more tutorials and patterns. There will also be the knit version of this pattern in my shops soon. If you're subscribed to my emails, I will let you know when these are published. So I thank you so much for watching, and I will see you soon. Bye!